Comments. Cool. So it's still recording, yes? Perfect.
Yep.
Oh, cool. I'm so
Yay.
excited. Okay. So this is going to be, I'll just like explain what I'm doing in general. So I'm gonna do like a little, or I'm doing a wedding series of interviews where I'm interviewing different vendors and stuff to try and like build a community of local vendors and um just get information out to brides like yourself, like how to find vendors, commonly asked questions that people ask different vendors, what different vendors want people to know that like can be like helpful in the process and everything. So yeah, and I thought who better to start off with than a bride who
Yeah.
can just tell us what she wants.
Such a bride.
You're just like you are just like you know what you want. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're like a very chill bride, but you're like, yeah, I want it like this and this is
This is how it's gonna be.
yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, so I guess I'll like introduce, I don't really know how it's gonna go, but so to all my 6 people who are gonna watch this, which is like me and my husband and my mom and Devyn's
I'll
fiance.
send it to my mom.
Perfect. There you go. That's 6 people. Hello everybody, and welcome to the wedding series. My name's Megan of Megan How Photography, and I invited my beautiful friend Devyn, who's getting married in September in Marblehead, Massachusetts, to come and be a bride on this series and just to answer a bunch of my questions I'm going to ask her about what it's like being a bride, planning a wedding, looking for vendors, all that stuff. So thank you,
All
Devyn.
right. Hi. Thanks for
Hi.
having me.
You're so
I wish we had
welcome.
matching like coffee cups or something.
Same, I know. I got to get some like gear, some swag.
Yeah.
Devyn said before we started recording that it feels like we're the Kelsey brothers on their podcast, and I couldn't agree more. We're the same. We're the same.
Yeah. We just need like microphones and to win trophies and
Yeah,
make millions.
exactly. That's it. But then we're there. We're the same.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
are them.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, you're getting married September 28th, 2024. Hopefully you don't mind me just getting all your personal information out there. But what are you most excited about?
I'm just excited to have, and I feel like this is what everyone says about their wedding when they reflect on it, like all the most important people in your life in one room. I think
So
that's like
true.
going to be amazing.
So true.
Yeah.
Because there really like aren't other times in your life when you can do that. Like just like
Probably your
really
funeral,
shows.
but you're
Yeah,
not there.
fair. Yeah. But
But
yeah, like it's just you're like if you're this in this level of my life, I know you're gonna be there. You're one of my favorite people, and it's like everyone in one room. It's the best.
yeah, celebrating and
Yeah.
yeah, I think I can't wait for that.
For anyone who doesn't know, which would be no one, because my mom, your mom, our husbands, they all know. But Devyn and I met through my husband, Devyn's fiance, who grew up together. And then Devyn and I fell in love. So this is our love story now.
Yeah.
But Pete, your fiance, what do you think Pete is most excited about?
This might be a silly answer, and I think he's secretly the most excited about it. I don't know if this is what he would tell you. I think, as you said, he's like one of your husband's best friends, and they're all pretty like established in their relationships. Like you have a baby. And Peter, I think it's like this is the last hurrah for the friend group, kind of in that
Yeah.
like serious relationship step for all of them.
Yeah.
They've grown up. And I think he's like super excited to have like his boys around for like his day,
Hmm.
celebrating. And I feel like it's not even going to be about like Peter and I getting married. It's almost like, guys, we did it. Look at us now, especially with the wedding being in Marblehead. I don't know. I feel like they're all going to have this moment of like, a love fest.
He's like, who's Devyn?
Yeah. Like, we get a
Who's that?
picture of the boys.
This is
Like,
the boys' weekend.
I think it might be.
My husband, Wells got into this habit of calling all of these weddings that we're going to golf weekends. So, like my like best friend Abby's wedding was this past summer. It was awesome. It was up in June, and he played like 72 holes of golf or something. And he
He
was
did
like,
that at
"Man,
Matt's too, right?
yeah, yep,
Yep.
And he's like, "Wow,
Maybe
that
they
was
are golf weekends.
yeah." Like he's like, "That was such a fun golf weekend." I'm like,
There just
Okay.
happened to be a wedding.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting into some more planning things. What has been the most fun part of the planning process for you? Because I know you like have enjoyed a lot of it so far, right?
Yeah, I really liked it. I think a lot of people get stressed because it's a lot to have
Yeah.
to accomplish and like check off the list.
Mhm.
But
I mean, there's like a reason why there's a full-time job as a wedding planner
yeah,
because it's like
totally.
legit, it can be a full-time job. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed. So I'm big on like aesthetics and like how things look and how things come together. And maybe that's also a part of the just like naturally wanting things like planned and nice. But I'm
Mhm.
excited to like I've enjoyed picking different vendors who I think will like really complement each other
Mhm.
and like create like my ultimate vision.
So cool.
Yeah.
Did you, because that's not something that I thought about. Like, I didn't think about like the individual vendors working well together. That's so smart to think that way.
Yeah.
Did you have, because I don't know if like the Eastern gave you a vendor list, like did like the people come recommended to you or did you find them totally on your own?
I found pretty much everyone on my own. So my photographer had shot my friend's wedding.
Mhm.
Um, and I like fangirled her. My friend got married like 10 years ago. So
What's her name? Let's give her a shout out.
Emily Delmeter
Cool. All right. I'll
out of
tag her.
Portland, Maine. And she shot Amy and Thomas's wedding as well. So I like saw her at Camille's wedding and then flash forward a few years and I was like, oh my God, that's Camille's photographer.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I wasn't even engaged at the time. And I went up to her and was like, hi, I was in a wedding you shot.
Love it.
You
Love
know?
it.
Um,
Planting
so
seeds.
yes, but otherwise, all my other vendors, my venue does food, so I didn't have to find a caterer, which was great. I think like a lot of people struggle with that, and that also gets a little pricey.
Mhm.
Hair and makeup, I researched and found myself. Florals, I researched and found myself. Um, my dress, where I went for that, I feel like is really common in the Boston area.
Mhm.
Trying to think, what other vendors are there?
How are you doing your invitations?
Oh, imitation. So that was an interesting one. I went to a bunch of places in Boston,
Mhm.
like print houses, etc., and got quotes. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted like letterpress where you touch the paper and the letters come off the page. And I wanted like
So
multiple
cool.
stacks of paper. Like I wanted to be like a thick envelope.
Yeah.
I feel like an invitation really like sets the scene for the type of wedding that you're going to. And I want people to open it and be like, oh, this is gonna be a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And the prices were just crazy. And so I work in marketing and I was like, I can do this.
Mhm.
I can figure this out. So I designed my own invitation, worked with a printer that I know through work and had everything printed for probably like a 16th of the cost.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's amazing. For
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know, Devin is like extra, like you walk into Devin's home and everything just looks like perfectly curated. Like it's just this beautiful, like it's what you want your home to look like. And it's what I'm like trying to achieve and just will never get there. But so that's just to set the scene of
Yeah.
what
I
Devin
fixate
does.
on it. Like I like move things around like a quarter of an inch every day. But
Hey, it's paying off. It's
yeah. So with the invitations, um, I wanted it like a very specific way. And I was like, all right, I think I can just make it. And I did.
Was there any one vendor that I know you said you like knew of the photographer before, but was there, and I know like you really like your florist and her designs a lot, but was there any one vendor that you decided to like, since you made sure they're all gonna work well together, was there any one that you were like focusing that around? Like you were like, I will have this person there, and then let's find people who would complement that.
Yeah, I think I was the photographer and like this is
Cool.
your world. I feel like that's the one thing from your wedding you take away with you. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, like the florals are gonna die. People
Hmm.
could take that home for like 2 days.
Hmm.
Your cake, I guess some people put that away for a year
Hmm.
and just have frostbite on their anniversary or
Yep.
freezer burn.
Hmm.
Uh, but like that's your constant reminder of that day that you had. So it was really important to me to like find a photographer that worked in like an aesthetic that I really liked.
Hmm.
And then I feel like based off of if you like a certain photographer, I also feel like you kind of have like a certain aesthetic that's similar to them. So then
Hmm.
everything you're seeing in their photos, you're also like, oh, that's also along like the vibe that I'm looking for
So
aesthetically.
cool.
So I knew my photographer would capture my florals really well because she's
Mhm.
captured florals like the ones that I want before.
Mhm.
Um, in regards to like hair and makeup,
Mhm.
I know that like I don't want to look a certain way, but I want to look. So you find like pictures of girls that you are like, oh, she looks great, like not too
Yeah.
much, she's glowy, she's dewy, and then you're like, who did their hair and makeup?
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
it. So did you use social media a lot when you were looking for your vendors? Like, was that your prime, like, would you go to their Instagrams or what
Yeah.
was your like process with that?
Yeah, so I did a lot of research on Zola because I felt like that was like the most, like almost like a directory of vendors.
Sure.
And then being like a little bit, I mean, it's our wedding. I think we all go a little crazy. I would
Yeah.
like cross-reference that to the knot too. You can just
Mhm.
like really pull it up.
Yeah.
Um,
Why not?
and then if I liked a vendor, I would go directly to their social media because I feel like that's like the most honest
Yep.
representation of their work. Because like on your website, you're picking the best of the best,
Mhm.
and reviews are tough. Like I even say that about like Yelp or going to restaurants. Like everybody has different tastes. So like what's 5 stars to you might be like two to somebody else,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
So somebody could have like an amazing review and profile, and you could be like, yeah, they're beautiful in what they do, but it's not what I'm looking for.
Sure.
I felt like social media was like a peer-to-peer,
Mhm.
like honest. Here's a picture of how I looked that day.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and I would like look at that. I'd go into like photos they've been tagged in. I'd go like down the rabbit hole like years back and be like, have they gotten better? Like, has it always looked this good?
Right. Yes. Love it. Okay. I'm like taking notes. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, everything is progressively better over time.
I
No,
also
that makes
think,
total sense.
I mean, it's like I work in marketing, so maybe I'm like in, impacted by this. But
Mhm.
like, if your social media isn't like tight, if your website's not tight, if
Mhm.
it's hard to search you, if
Mhm.
it's hard, like that's going to make it that much harder, I think, to like establish trust before you even know the brand.
Yeah.
Like, so if I found a website and I was like, like this company might be great, but like, why is their contact me page broken?
Sure. Right.
Like that's a little weird. That's going to set up like in my head a weird experience for initially working with them.
Sure.
So I think like if you can brand and make everything, I mean, we're talking about weddings. People want things like beautiful
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
crisp and clean,
Mm-hmm.
and your brand has to like mimic that.
Totally. Especially in this day and age where like posting on Instagram is free and like there's so many resources that now making a website can be free and to make like an aesthetically pleasing website, you could my website right now is I made it for free.
Yeah.
And some my goal someday is to like pay a designer to make like this gorgeous custom website for me, not in the cards right now, but I think I was able to make an aesthetically pleasing website for free using online templates, which is like so now in this day and age that it's so easy, I totally agree. It's like if your social media and your website are not aesthetically pleasing and functional, it's like
It's your first impression.
totally, totally.
Um, yeah. And even like down to like if you reach out to people, down to the email response, right? Like some people would like send emails with like their branding in the email, like in their signature, or like whether it was like a header or they used like a PDF before they sent it.
Yeah.
It's like all
Awesome.
those little things. So
Yeah. Awesome. You're like
just
the
the
perfect person to interview for this because you're in marketing. I feel like all of this is marketing, right? Like
yeah,
your social media, your website, that's all marketing. So even down to like the logo you're using, your branding you're using, your email signatures, like all marketing. So you just like you're the perfect person for this interview.
yeah,
Um,
maybe a little biased.
I want to ask you about your florals because I know your plan originally at least was to try to grow some of your own
Yeah,
florals and then your florist is gonna like use those to design some awesome some awesome
yeah,
floral creations. But yeah, tell me about that.
yeah. So I love like English gardens. I think they're so beautiful and like
Mhm.
whimsical and free, but also like they're English, so they're like proper.
Yes. That is
Yeah,
like English garden when that's like I can totally see that. Like I
I am
love
English
that
garden.
that's the descriptor. Yes.
Yeah. So, and a lot of that's like not necessarily flowers. It's a lot of plants that
Hmm.
flower.
Hmm.
Um, and then I also feel like in with plants, you get a lot of different height.
Hmm.
So I am growing my own herbs and like fruit trees and things like that to like mix in with my florals, and that's on me, right? I'm not
Hmm.
paying somebody to do that, and it's so inexpensive. Like you go to I literally went to Ocean State Job Lot, which
Yep,
is
love it.
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
There's one down in Cape Cod where my parents have a house, and my mom and I went in there, bought
Hmm.
like a bunch of terracotta pots, like really beautiful, like imported from Italy, pots, and we're like, all right, we're gonna grow our herbs in here. And we
Hmm.
started growing them last summer, and hopefully by this
Love
summer
that.
they're like big and bountiful and beautiful, and they'll be in
Love
these aged
it.
terracotta pots, and I can mix them in with like beautiful white and
Mm-hmm.
greenery. And I'm just trying to make things seem really like full and lush, and that would be so expensive just to accomplish
Hmm.
with flowers that you're then purchasing from somebody.
Hmm.
Um, and also like I'll take all these things home after, and I'll have a freaking herb
Nice little
factory out
salad.
back. Yeah, come over for rosemary anytime you want. Um, but
Uh,
I think it's gonna like make everything feel really not like cookie cutter. It'll
mhm,
feel more like you know when you walk into Anthropologie and you go shopping, you're like, this isn't a store. Like everything in here is like a vibe.
mhm,
Like it's like
mhm,
scenes, and the windows have been like created by like set designers. Like I
mhm.
want somebody to walk in and be like, oh, this is like designed,
So
not
cool.
just placed.
So cool.
Yeah.
Your florist too, I checked out her work and it's super cool and I can totally see
Yeah.
her being able to incorporate that vision. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
What's interesting with her is you talk about like how did you find your vendors?
Hmm.
So she, I found through Instagram, not like a website or anything. And florists are cool in the fact that they like contract for each other, even if they
Oh,
have their
okay.
own businesses.
Hmm.
So there's a couple florists in Boston that are really prominent, and she was doing a lot of work for them.
Got it.
Um, and
Okay.
I was like clicking on those accounts, like, oh, who are the people in the background? Like,
Very
and
cool.
I stumbled upon her,
Hmm.
and again, then went to her website and was like, this website's fantastic. And
Hmm.
then I connected with her. And like I said, like it's almost like I'm going to sound really marketing here, but the customer journey, right? Like first touch, like
Hmm.
Instagram website, it was also great. And
Yeah.
then before I had even signed a contract with her, she came out to Marblehead, went to our site, like
Hmm.
took a ride with me out on the boat.
So
Um,
cool. Can we give her a
yeah,
shout out too, please? Because
yeah,
that's amazing.
Kayla Quinn, you rock.
So cool.
Um,
So cool.
and that made me feel so good, right? Like she was so
Mhm.
invested in it and
Yeah.
she saw the vision, and I know that she's going to do great, but then that made it like, oh, she like is going to be great for me too.
So cool. Did you
Yeah.
have any other vendors that did things like that, that kind of went like, did this? Because no one expects their florist to come
Yeah,
out
that
and
was
spend the day with them before, like that's,
yeah.
I would never
I was like,
expect.
do you want to stay for dinner? Do you want to be best
Yeah.
friends?
Like, can you move in?
Yeah.
But like, was there anyone else that kind of went like above and beyond to do something like that that really stood out to you?
Um, I think it's interesting. There's like new platforms that people are using to send contracts.
Hmm.
And then like it saves all your communications with them.
Hmm.
So rather than like me needing to make a folder on my Google Drive of like, all right, here's my vendor contract, here's like the receipt of like my invoice, here's like examples I sent them, and
Sure.
me like panning through that. I have like portals with a couple of different vendors, and I feel like
Very
that's just
cool.
maybe the
Okay.
industry this
Hmm.
in this day and age.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I'm curious, like if the band has added any new songs to their set list, the
Sure.
band, that's another vendor. And I can go into this and find it myself.
Awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
In the opposite light, have you had any bad vendor experiences, like either just communication wise or reaching out and you don't need to like say who they are, but
Yeah.
unless you really want to really stick it to them, but yeah.
So it's like it's funny. It's like a double-edged sword. Like you want to be like super prompt in your communication, right? Because you want to like impress the potential client.
Hmm.
Um, but I will say one I guess it's not really a downside, maybe it just bothered me. Like if you put in an inquiry with a vendor on Zola,
Hmm.
it like pings them, and then I think they can get back to you.
Hmm.
So I mean, Pete did this, not me. He like blasted vendors when
Yeah.
we were like thinking of having a month of coordinator. And
Hmm.
then I, of course, to my email address, am getting like slammed with emails like, we'd love to help you. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh my gosh, I'm very much like, I'll come to you kind
Hmm.
of.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it would, I mean, like I said, double-edged sword. You want to hear back from people.
Right.
But it's hard because then you could get a message from Zola and then you could get a message directly from the vendor. And like
Mhm.
that part would be stressful to like any bride, I think, like too
Sure.
many people
Sure. Sure.
trying to communicate and work with you.
Okay.
Um, and then I mean, I didn't have any bad I like you said at the beginning of this, I really knew what I wanted. So the vendors that I reached out with are the ones that I hired. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I interviewed like
You knew what you were doing before you reached out. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Awesome.
except for like maybe a few of them, but like the band I knew right away,
Hmm.
photographers, flowers, hair and makeup.
Hmm.
Um, but it was like all judged off of photos on their Zola, their Instagrams, their websites.
Yeah.
So you can't
Yeah.
like harp that presence enough.
How much did the actual, like, who the vendor was as a human being play into it versus like just their work? Like, was there any
Yeah,
balance in that?
totally. I mean, I think that's what I mean. I would have hired you if I knew you were going to be a wedding photographer
No, I want to
in
have,
September
I'm not
2024.
working at your
Yeah, you're going
wedding.
to whoop it up.
Yeah.
Um, she was just so cool when I was in a wedding that she shot.
Hmm.
And her pictures were so beautiful from my friend's wedding that I followed her on social. And she
Awesome.
was just really interesting. And she was so nice when I talked to her on the phone. The florist, like the fact that she came out here was incredible.
Hmm.
Um, and the reality is, like, these people are going to be with you on that day too. They're like
Hmm.
in the background, but
Right.
like, how annoying would it be if you're like, ugh, I
Right.
can't get in contact with XYZ,
Right.
or like, she didn't listen.
Yeah.
That
Right.
would stink.
Right. Or you, yeah, your photographer is like
Get a
super
vibe.
annoying and she's like hanging out with you on your wedding day. You're like, please,
Yeah,
no.
right. Or like, if you have a planner, I have a month of planner, but if you're not like vibing with that person, like this person's
Yeah.
like your left hand.
Involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that like your personalities match. And I will say, like, planners I interviewed like a few of because I was like, the last thing I need is to be like
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
somebody that's trying to help me.
Yeah. No, for sure. My planner was my mom, and we definitely butt heads a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I think
no, but
that
she did
maybe
an
that's why
amazing
I've
job.
hired one.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Oh, it's
okay,
COVID
mom.
bride too.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, Linda came in clutch. My mom ended up planning 3 weddings because our plans changed so many times during COVID. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's see what else. What else do I have for you? Um, those were most of my questions. I mean, you already answered like pretty much everything. But yeah,
Okay.
this was so great.
Yay. Thanks,
Thank you
Meg.
so much.
I
Is
hope
there
it was
anything that you think has been like super important in your planning process that I haven't asked about?
Um, everyone's different, but I got my planning like, and some people are like, wow, you're crazy. Or like, oh my God, you're so on it. I got it all done like right away, like right
Yeah.
after I got engaged, because that's my like advice to people if they're up for it. Like you're so excited in that
Yeah.
moment that like
Yeah.
you want to be researching these things. I mean, some people get engaged, right? And they're like, we're taking our time, like long
Yeah.
engagement. So it's unique to everybody, but I was like, get it done. Because right now, in the dead of winter, if I was doing this with like September,
Mm-hmm.
8 months away, I don't
Hmm.
think I'd be as jazzed in
Yeah.
the planning
Yeah.
process. I think I would feel like a little bit of stress.
Yeah.
So I think like get her done early. And
Hmm.
also, you're a vendor. Like I was talking to people. When did I get engaged? April, and I wasn't getting married until September, like
Hmm.
over what, a year and a half out, and people were booked.
Yeah.
They're like,
It's
yeah, good thing you
wild.
called. Like, I'm booking up.
Hmm. It's
So
wild.
it's like never too early.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Just now, I mean, I'm obviously like very new in this world, but it's like just it is so crazy how quickly things book up. And I mean, it makes sense because it's, you know, low
It's like
supply,
a
high
finite
demand. And
season usually too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when you want the best, you gotta compete
Yeah,
for it.
get on it.
Yeah. Well, Devin, you're the best.
You too. This was
I
so
can't
nice. I
wait
hope
until
that
we're like right at the top with the Kelsey brothers in terms
I
of
was just gonna say, I hope
views.
they see this and
Yeah.
feel
Yeah. No, they'll probably repost
we'll
and
probably be guests on their
probably, I
podcast.
mean, honestly,
And we're
probably.
getting
So.
the wedding girls.
Oh, Taylor
If
and
she wants to
Travis,
show up, I'm there.
yeah, they can use this for like when they plan their wedding because obviously they will have
Yeah,
people who can
this
do this
will
for
help
them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll have no coordinators,
No, they'll
planners.
have no help and we can be
Not
that
like
help.
her team could do this like in a blink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, of
Looking
course. Let me
forward.
know if I can help you with anything else. And yeah, good luck to all the other brides out there.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for your wedding.
Thanks, me too.
Even more after this. I'm like, I can't wait to see the floral arrangements now. This lush English garden that I'm about to walk into. I'm like, oh,
Hopefully it all, I mean, works. What if I like go down to my garden at the Cape and everything's not
well,
thriving?
I have a fake plant right here that
Need
probably makes me want to
regrow.
vomit.
Yeah, do you want to bring that?
Yeah, perfect. This is your bouquet, actually.
Right on the back of everyone's invite, like, hey,
Yeah, I'm gonna put
bring
that
your
away.
own plant.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Post oak
no
plant.
gifts. Yeah.
Uh, please just
Uh,
decorate my wedding.
honestly, not
Well,
a bad idea. All right. Well, thanks, Dev. I love you.
yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.